Good morning, folks. It's Diamond with the Oppenheimer Ranch Project, Magnetic Reversal News, and Shinrin-yoku, bringing you a grand solar minimum update Tuesday, August 2nd, around 10 a.m. Mountain Time, 2022. Iceland continues to rumble overnight, albeit activity above 3 magnitude has ceased, but this is the uplift in the last 11 days, and it is palpable where this eruption is going to occur right on the crosshairs. But the big story, Kentucky flooding death toll now rises to 37, as governor says hundreds remain unaccounted for. Keep calm. It's boom time. With the cosmic ray maximum and our prediction 5 years ago that we would see this type of flooding, well, unfortunately, it has come true in many regions. And now more than 24 people, including children, have died due to flooding in eastern Kentucky, according to officials on Monday. The toll is expected to increase, with many still reported missing, and that is in the hundreds. And there is up to 4 inches of rain predicted over the coming days, which is the last thing they need. So our hearts and prayers go out to the people in these stricken regions, some of which still have yet to be rescued. But there's good news. There's money coming and disaster relief against flooding. So that is good news. Now, other good news, in some regions, the rain is a debacle. In other regions, the rain is a blessing. In fact, Lake Mead is now rising well above 3 inches. This was yesterday's article, and we checked some of the models up, maybe up to 5 inches now, and rising. And it looks like with the precipitation pattern in the next 10 days or so, that Lake Mead will continue to rise. And that's good news. It says here, with monsoon rains 4 out of the last 5 days in Las Vegas, there are at least 1+. Lake Mead has risen. Now, at the same time, Las Vegas officials are claiming they're going to run out of water in 30 days. I guess their reservoirs don't catch the same runoff. What say you? Well, if we come over here to Lake Powell as well, I was interested. Boom! This is the first time I've ever seen Lake Powell gain water. And it has a lot to do with the inflow versus the outflow. They often flow out more water than that's coming in, and that's why the lake is dropping. They don't have to do that. So I wonder why they do that. Now, the in-charge has been between around 10,000 cubic feet per second, which is exceeding the outflow at 9,300. And that is causing, well, Lake Powell as well to rise. So good news in the West. As we take a look at the precipitation here in the Four Corners in the West, it's looking amazing for Lake Mead and Lake Powell. Very wet in these regions, and they all flow into those lakes. So that's good news. Bad news is Kentucky and eastern Tennessee, we could see more flooding events. Now, the U.S. Drought Monitor is slowly changing, and these darker maroon areas, well, they're letting up. The map looked much different years ago, and, well, most of the extreme drought has been erased, especially in the Pacific Northwest and the upper Midwest. No drought whatsoever. We're just still working on some extreme drought in southern Central California, southern Nevada, southern Utah, and most of Texas has extreme drought somewhere. So hopefully the wet pattern will help alleviate some of the drought here in Texas. And just look at the moisture in the Four Corners. Even Southern California is going to be picking up some heavy moisture in the coming days. Starting now, it just continues the tropical moisture the whole time out in the west. The coast is going to be a little dry, but those are not the most drought-stricken regions. The regions that are going to be getting the precipitation, and that's the good news. Now, the guys over at snowmobilers.com have released their early snow forecast for winter 2022-23. Now, the Farmer's Almanac and the Old Farmer's Almanac and even NOAA don't release their forecasts until late August, early September. So we could take this with a grain of salt, but it is in fact the same map that I would make. And above average snowfall is going to be happening here in the southern mountains, and well above normal snowfall from the Delmarva all the way up to Maine. And so this is going to be nor'easter season, where we're going to get some crippling blizzards on the East Coast, and lots of liberal tears. You wait for it. Hailstorms, derechos becoming more frequent as climate change. Well, climate change isn't climate change. The climate always changes, folks. But the reason that there is derechos and hailstorms is because we could be entering the next Dust Bowl. And these are cycles that have to do with the Atlantic multi-decadal oscillation, the PDO, the Pacific decadal oscillation. Those are the ENSO cycles, as well as the weakening magnetosphere and the breakdown of the jet stream. So what we're going to be seeing is a meridional flow. We're going to see some locking highs, and we're going to be seeing some record temperatures as predicted years ago, as well as increased hail. Now, this is on QE2 in Alberta, where grapefruit-sized hail, well, destroyed lots of cars. Take a look at some of these pictures. Over 70 cars, I think, had to be abandoned when hail like this, well, fell on August 1st, yesterday, crushing and pummeling many vehicles. There's one. You could see some of the cars pulled off of the side of the road there. There's one with a broken out window. So, hail is continuing on the rise, and I can only imagine the crops in this region and how they fared. We also have a tropical storm here. This is Tropical Storm Frank, and is off the coast of Baja. It's going to be hooking in towards Central California and going from a tropical storm to a depression and maybe dissipating. So that's the only tropical activity we have. There's no activity in the Atlantic whatsoever. And here is the heat for today. The big winner, chicken dinner, is going to be the trifecta. South Dakota, Nebraska, and Iowa. Right at that triple junction, 108 degrees expected today, so I expect some record temperatures to break here. This strip is going to remain extremely hot while the east gets, well, moderates and gets probably record cold, so later in the week. So stay tuned for that. Intense heat and flash floods persist. Dangerous heat and record high temperatures are expected over much of the central U.S. on Tuesday. Meanwhile, the monsoon will again result in heavy downpours and flash flood risks across the Southwest, Four Corners, and Great Basin. Elsewhere, severe thunderstorms are possible in parts of the upper Midwest Tuesday before pushing eastward on Wednesday. And let's just move the temperature through here so you can get an idea of how hot it's going to be. Let's just pause this and move it back a little. All right, here's your high temperatures for today. The hottest states are going to be northern Nebraska, southern South Dakota there. And then tomorrow we're going to have heat in Texas up through Oklahoma. Pretty extreme heat. Could be up to 104 degrees in Oklahoma and 102 in East Texas. Up to 105 in East Texas tomorrow late in the day. Sorry about that. So the heat's going to persist for quite some time here. Here we are out on Friday, 105 and 108 in Kansas. So the heat's going to be moving up and down here, the record heat, and it looks like by the weekend, Kansas is going to be picking up the record temperatures. These are not all-time record highs, could be for the day, but this is in no means a severe heat wave because of the small area of heat. Look at here over in the east and over in the mountains. There will be some heat in the West Coast, but it's always hot in the summer in Death Valley. So there's that. Now let's go over to the Reykjanes Ridge and update the earthquake activity and see what's happening. There seems to be another lull here, just like there was a day ago. After it ramped back up with some high magnitude quakes, it's now ramping back down. So it seems to be that there's some kind of a 24-hour cycle here. So we'll be looking for the next uptick happening now, just like it has over the last several days. The quakes are clustering on the Reykjanes Peninsula here, the larger magnitude quakes, and you can see them lining up in a line right here. This could be one of the areas of potential eruption. And here you're looking at the GPS uplift map that has been prepared over the last 11 days as of yesterday. And we can see two areas of deformation that are quite significant, and it could be either one of these or both where the next eruption occurs. Now we're looking live over here at the Reykjanes Iceland Live Eruption Watch. You can see the microtremor is still going on, albeit dropped off a little bit here. And there was the peak last night. But still, no eruption on the surface, and we're keeping a close eye on it for you. Now, some interesting topics. Let's talk about more volcanic activity, but let's talk about Hawaii. Did you know that there is grand solar minimum eruptions that occur in Hawaii that are not from Mauna Loa or Mauna Kea or Kilauea? There's actually other eruptive fissures on the island, including Kohala. This is a fissure eruption region, and please help me with this. Hualalea. Maybe I got that close. But Hualalea is an area where fissure and flank eruptions, where they had early eruptions happening in the 1700s and lava flows that made it to the ocean, as well as a Dalton minimum vent and lava flow that made it to the ocean. And then the big event, the Wahapele, and here's the event, that happened between 1200 and 1400 AD, back in the mini ice age there. So we could see a potential because we did have a recent earthquake up in Kohala, but we want to keep a close eye on Hualalea, another region of eruptive potential. So there's 5 volcanoes on the Big Island, if you want to put it that way. Just bringing you up to speed. We'll leave you links to the article so you can get up to speed. Now let's talk about Nibiru. Well, let's not talk about Nibiru because Planet 9 is running out of places to hide according to new science. And we have the paper. Searching for giant planets in our solar system with far infrared all-sky survey. Now, what they did is they explored the region between 700 astronomical units and 8,000 astronomical units. Well, and they looked at data for 23.4 years, taken with the infrared astronomical satellite IRAS. They found 535 potential candidates with regional spectral energy. Now, this is going to make all of the conspiracy theorists on Planet X, this is what made their heads pop earlier. They thought that there's 535 potential candidates for Planet X. The only problem is they stopped reading there. Because examination of the infrared images of these candidates suggests that none is sufficiently compelling to warrant a follow-up. Which makes, well, Planet 9 is running out of places to hide. Now, interesting blog over at Judith Curry's website, judithcurry.com. The Sun Climate Effect, the Winter Gatekeeper Hypothesis, and the Search for a Solar Signal. Now, probably no subfield of meteorology has had as much effort devoted to it as the effects of solar variability on weather and climate. Yet you don't hear about it in the mainstream. Now, the sun has been identified as the source of climate since the dawn of human intelligence. When the sun sets, the temperature drops precipitously every day. So it's very clear that the sun controls weather and climate. And consequently, the sun was worshipped in many ancient cultures. Large sunspots are visible with the naked eye when the sun is low on the horizon and partially obscured by dust or smoke as well. And several myths and iconography suggest sunspots were known from ancient cultures. We've covered them on Magnetic Reversal News. The three-legged crow, for instance. And there's many, many, many more instances that for, well, over 1,000 years, scientists have been postulating about the sun climate effect. And here is all of the historical timeline from the invention of the telescope back in 1600 to all of the great scientists unraveling the solar dynamo. William Herschel, Heinrich Schwab, Roger Bray, Colin Hines, John Eddy, Korina Lubitsky, Joanna Haig, and others. And the fact that we can correlate solar activity with temperature is beyond reproach, yet the mainstream doesn't want to touch it. There's other correlations like wheat prices and solar output. Now, we know the wheat price is directly connected to climate, so if it's also directly connected to the solar output, I wonder if the solar output has something to do with climate. I guess we'll never know. Even population growth. Now, all the links will be below, and I just want to bring your attention to the time of year we are all living in. Our county fair starts in just 2 days, and it's going to last for 3, and I'll be there most of the time, be filming. But the reason I want to bring this up is there are county fairs all over the country happening now. And if you've never been to one, and you watch the channel, I implore you to go there, because who you're going to meet there is all of the local food producers, all of the local crafters. We have thousands of categories to enter in our county fair, from quilting to flower arranging to art to jewelry. But what you can do is you can locate all the people you need to locate in your region. Those that have the type of meat you want, those that have the type of vegetables you want. And you can network and barter right there on site. You can even buy an animal at the auction and help out 4-H. So if you haven't been to a county fair, I implore you to get to your county fair. If it already happened, well, you missed it. But most of them are happening now. And if you missed yours in your state and you can get to one in a state nearby, I implore you to drive there. It will be worth it. Now, one other thing before we leave. I just partnered with Jace Medical. Now, we usually don't have sponsors for show, and this isn't going to be a sponsor for our show or anything. But the reason we're partnering with Jace is because it's an affiliate program, and we will gain value if you gain preparedness. Now, for years, I've been searching for a way to stockpile antibiotics and for information on their safe use and what antibiotics are used for different things. Now, Jace Medical has put this all in one place, the Jace case, and it's what every household needs. 5 emergency life-saving antibiotics, and the guidebook for their safe use, and the container for their safe storage. Now, according to the people running Jace Medical, and I've spoken to them directly, most of these antibiotics can be stored for decades with up to 90% efficacy. So don't believe everything you read on the interwebs. And we're going to be doing some exclusive podcasts on the Jace case so you guys can get yours for your family. Because when the grid goes down, the doctor's offices close. The last thing you need is a tooth abscess to kill you. That should be the least of your worries. And that's where Jace Medical comes in, and the Jace case. It will be linked below so you can peruse it through our affiliate link. And anyone that purchases through our affiliate link is supporting the channel while supporting their preparedness. And that's a boom. To knowledge, proper prior planning prevents piss poor performance. I hope you got something out of the video. Please like, share, and subscribe if you haven't. Thanks to all our one-time donors, our Patreons. And stay tuned for the update on the Jace case. We love you.